When my mother was 16, one Sunday in Sunday school class, her teacher taught the concept of love. And she invited all the youth in the class to go home and tell their parents that they loved them. My mom listened and laid hold on the words of her teacher. After class ended, she waited for her classmates to leave, and then she said to her teacher, "I can't do what you asked me to do. I can't tell my father I love him." You see, at the time, my grandfather was a mechanic on an army base. He wasn't active in the church, and he was often rough, gruff, and mean, like you'd expect from an army mechanic. At that time, "I love you" was not something they said to each other in their family. Well, the teacher said, "You have to do it. Your father, especially your father, needs to hear those words from you. He deserves your unconditional love." So my mom went home, and all week the words of her teacher stayed with her. Finally, on Saturday night, knowing she would be facing her teacher the next day, my mom found her courage. My grandfather had just walked into the kitchen to put out a cigarette. My mom got up her courage and blurted out the words, "Dad, I have something to tell you." She paused. "I love you." With those words, my grandfather turned around with his back towards my mom and leaned against the fridge with his head bowed down. My mom thought, is he angry? He just stood there, back turned, head down. Then my big burly grandfather turned around and he was weeping. My mom hesitated. She stepped over to him and he wrapped his arms around her and said, "I love you." As long as she could remember, this was the first time he had hugged her and said those words to her.